Today talks is let's see, condensed version from about 12 different suttas. Again, too, it is not that I read and I research and stuff like that. It is I heard from my teachers, and after one of my teachers, Sayadaw Silana, passed away, okay, he's the rector of the Buddhist University. So another teacher, another monk succeeded that position, and he delivered a lot of Dharma talks on the YouTube. And whenever he talks, there will be about 30, 40, 50,000 would listen in a short period. So I listen to that because the way I think is, if he succeeds my teacher's position, he must have a very sound position and knowledge and practice. So from that teacher, I heard a lot of suttas, and then some of the suttas I relay back to our group. And today too, this is the all different 12 suttas put together. But I thought it would be good for us to understand Kamma. Okay, Kamma is action. Vipaka is the result. Kamma Vipaka, cause and effect, actions and consequences. Even the Buddha has to go through that, even at his last life. So it will be, I thought, good for us to know. And today's talk about that Kamma result, which means in Pali is Vipaka, Kamma results of the Buddha. Full Moon Day talk, December 2023. The consequences of one's actions are inescapable. Some may manifest in this life, others in the next life, and others when the conditions are right, suitable, they arises from the third existence. That means from this life, next life, and the one after that, we call it the third life, till to the last life before taking Nibbana, the last existence. During those periods, whenever the conditions are right, the results come out, whether it is good or bad. And Buddha had to also go through 12 consequences of the unwholesome karma he had done in his past lives. 12 of them matures at the existence of the Buddha. So as it is the conversation of the 12 suttas and jatakas, stories of past life, we will talk very briefly on each account. And one of his life, past life, the Buddha was an alcoholic. And as he was an alcoholic, he was drunk and accused a silent Buddha of being involved with a female. Of course, he doesn't know, or he didn't know that was a silent Buddha. Silent Buddhas are people we might meet them, but we don't know that is or is not. But they are Buddhas in every sense, except that they do not dispense Dharma and create a sasana. That's a silent Buddha. So, that alcoholic was drunk and accused the silent Buddha of being involved with a female. Because of that action, at the life of the Buddha Gautama, people blame Buddha Gautama for being involved with a female Parabhija Tonsari. In fact, they accuse him in the public. And that accusation is the consequences of one of his life. He accused a silent Buddha. And the second one is, again, he was an alcoholic. We took the precepts. I refrain from taking alcohols and drugs that could cloud the mind. In the West, we take it quite lightly with regard to that precepts. But in here is, once you got to a certain stage of being drunk with alcohol, it can create a huge negative consequences. Even in our life now, people got drunken driving and hit somebody and kill. So don't take alcoholism or alcohol as the precept that is not that serious. Oh, a glass of wine is okay. A bottle of beer is okay. That kind of attitude, but one can lead to the other. So he's an alcoholic in another life, and this time he accused an arahant. Arahant is a person who had eradicated all mental defilements. He accused arahant of having sex with a woman. Again, too, this accusation. First one was silent Buddha, second one was arahant. Because of that, Saint Samana, that is Burmese sounding, it's called Sisamakika. That's how the Pali is written. That woman accused Buddha in the public of being her husband. Buddha was giving a Dharma talk on an audience. He went there. Of course, he accused him it's a husband who has left her in a pregnant state, and now he's trying to be acting a fake holy man. That was the accusation. Of course, in the whole story, eventually it was revealed that was the false accusation. That's the second incident of the Vipaka. And the third incident was at that life. It was a Brahmana. Brahmana is a highly intellectual, highly intelligent. They believe in God and they follow a certain system, Brahmana. And this Brahmana, he has a huge follower. You have hundreds of students following. He was teaching there. And at one point, carelessly means in another word is not mindful. Carelessly, that Brahmana mentioned a monk with a psychic power. He's not an arahant, not a silent Buddha, but this monk has a great psychic power. Again, he accused, oh, this monk is having sex with a woman. He's enjoying sex. Accusation come in. And of course, all his students, the followers, he's not really accusing anything, just carelessly passing by, mentioning it. And the students know that it was not really true. The student follows, of course, the teacher's tone. They don't go against the teacher. Follows tone, knowing that it was a fault. They say the same thing, they spread the same news. So it goes on. And because of that action, the public accused the Buddha and his disciple of wrongdoing. Again, it's in the case of Parabhijja Tonsari. This time it's not only the Buddha and his disciples, the monks, whoever is in there. They accuse the Buddha and the disciple of wrongdoing with a woman. That is the first one, Parabhijja Tonsari. Okay, when he was an alcoholic, that was one point. And here is more of his student disciples follow knowing falsely. That is the third incident. And the fourth incident is, this time it's regard to inheritance. One of the life was a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is trying to be Buddhist to be. He quarreled with his half-brother and killed him, take him out onto a forested hilly path and kill that half-brother for inheritance. For that action, Buddha Gautama has to suffer in hell. That was right away. But don't think that when you suffer in hell or when something had happened, it is the end of it. It's not the end. Sometimes the tail spin it one after the other, follow. You have to pay back in many times, many lifetimes, but not with the same intensity, of course. And here, right away, he had to suffer in hell. And at the time of the Buddha Gautama, his cousin Devadatta is also a monk, his disciple, pushed boulders down the hill to kill the Buddha, because he wants the Buddha's position and he wants to be the boss of the Sangha, thinking like in the monarchy system. If you kill a king, you become a king. That was his intention. And that was the karmic consequences of killing of his half-brother. So, down the line, not only suffering in hell and it's over, even at the time of the Buddha, somebody tried to assassinate him. Of course, he escaped. That's the fourth. The fifth is at that life, he was a young boy at that time, playing. The kids, they pick up stones and throw stone here, throw stone there, just playing. And at that time, a silent Buddha passed by for the alms round. And the boy threw the rock, the stone, at the silent Buddha. And as a consequence of that action, again at the life of the Buddha Gautama, his half-cousin Devadatta, this is another attempt. He sent 40 assassins who are very skillful in archery to kill the Buddha. That was a long story, plots everything in detail. But in here, this is all the point that we can see. He sent 40 assassins to kill the Buddha. And that is because he, as a boy, threw stones at a silent Buddha. These kind of transgressing silent Buddha and Arahants, and even in this case a psychic monk, they are not escapable. This is the way I see it. And the sixth one is our Buddha Gautama he was an elephant trainer, and he was riding an elephant and then came across a silent Buddha. So silent Buddha was coming on the road and he was on the elephant. So probably the road is not that wide, I guess. So what he did was he pushed the silent Buddha off the road, because that action is at the lifetime of Buddha. Again, his cousin Devadatta. This is another assassination attempt. Sent a drunken elephant. They make the elephant a lot of alcohols and just push it where the Buddha was coming. Drunken elephant Naragiri, that's the name of the elephant, towards the oncoming Buddha Gautama to kill. But of course, he escaped the assassination attempt. But still, people try. His own cousin tried 3 times to kill him. And the 7th one was, at that life, he was an unjust king. Okay. And as an unjust king, he speared an innocent person. Okay. He speared an innocent person. But one thing was, the king can do anything he wants, even though it is innocent. He say, no, you have committed this, that, and then kill him with a spear. Because of that, again, he crossed paths with Devadatta, his cousin, pushed boulders down a hill to kill the Buddha Gautama. Buddha was having a walking meditation at the base of a hill, and what he did was he pushed down boulders from it escaped, but a splinter of the rock, the boulder splinter of the rock hit the Buddha's toe, and the blood clot and the toe become infected. And a physician called Jivaka, that's a king's physician, he actually has to cut open the toes and treat the wounds and dress the infected wound up to that point. And this time he got a infection. That's the 7th incident of his life. And the eighth was, he was a boy at that life. He was a boy in a fishing village. Okay. And in that fishing village, the whole village is a fisherman. But they don't fish in a normal way, just going with the pipes and things and fish normally for food and to survive, to live. And these fishermen, the way they do is they go to a stream and they pour poison into the stream. The poison strong enough to kill the fish, but not people who eat the fish. And then what they do is they put a net down the stream and pick up everything. So young, old, the whole school of fish die, because the way they fish is by using poison pouring down. Everything goes down. So that kind of fishing killed the whole schools of fish. And the boy, he was watching all these things, and he relished looking at the dying fish, all gasping, flipping, dying, and he was relishing that sight, because he was also a fisherman and he's used to it, but he was really enjoying that the fish are suffering. And it said, because of the consequences, at the time, at the life of the Buddha, Buddha has a frequent headache throughout his life. That's the consequences. Not just once in a while, frequent headache throughout his life. The 8th. And the fisherman, the boy living in a fishing village, all the fishermen. And the fishermen were, at the time of Buddha Gautama, they were reborn as a relative of the Buddha, Shakya clan. That's a relative of the Buddha. And in a Savatthi, that's a city, Savatthi city, Shakya clan ruled, and Buddha was a prince, Siddhartha, and all his relatives are there. And these people are the fishermen in that fishing village. So a certain numbers of people, a group of people, they go crisscross throughout samsara. Sometimes you might be a father, you might be a son, next time you might be an uncle, aunt, woman, man, and so on and so forth. If you look at the one of the past one, all these students of the Brahmana, they were reborn as his disciples. So many of them crisscross, as not everybody, but some people who are a certain like-minded and going towards the same direction. I think they cross path many times. That's why sometimes we say here, you met somebody for the first time, you might say, I felt like I know you forever. I think that might be the case. I'm guessing. So in here, the Buddha's The fishermen are reborn as a Buddhist relative in a Sakya clan, brothers, uncle, aunts, half-brother, and so on. And Savatthi, that's the city. But they have another kingdom adjacent to it. It's called Kosala, King Kosala of the adjacent kingdom. And at that time, that Buddhist clan is considered very noble. Even among the kings, they are the highest status. Because in India, there's a caste system. Even among the kings, they are very higher than the other king levels. So this King Kosala, he wants to have a relation and have a blood with this Savatthi Sakya clan. So what he did was, he requested a daughter of the Sakya clan for marriage. And then, of course, this Sakya clan consider they are head above this king. So instead of giving a pure blood daughter, what he did was, this king, he gave a daughter who he get with a servant. Okay, the king can take any wife. With the servant, he had a daughter. So what he did was, he just gave that daughter. Of course, Kosala didn't know at that time. So King Kosala married to the princess to whom Savatthi king had with a servant. And they have a son. And that son's name is Vidatupa. And then when the prince Vidatupa came of age, he wanted to go and see his grandfather from the mother's side. So he went to visit his grandfather. But they think that he is inferior and they don't want to pay respect to that Vidatupa princess. So they had a plan. The plan is, every one of the relatives who are younger than the Vidatupa, they sent him away out of town. And all the older ones, senior in age, left there. So when Vidatupa came, he has to pay respect to everybody, but nobody pay him respect. And the prince said, oh, your cousins are out of town, sorry. So the prince left, Vidatupa left. And at that time, one of his bodyguard left his sword, forget his sword, in the palace. So he excused and went to pick up. At that time, he saw that they are washing the place where the Prince Vidatupa sits with the milk, and other was washing away the dirt, inferiority. In India, that kind of caste system is quite prevalent. So he came back, took his sword, came back and told the king, told the prince. And the prince said, okay, this is how they treat me. One day if I become a king, I will kill all of them. That was this year. And eventually, of course, when his father died, he became a king. But that Kosala kingdom is a lot powerful and strong, richer. They have bigger army. In terms of wealth and army, they are stronger. The Savatthi king Gautama clan, Sakya clan is just that they are noble. They come from a long line of pure blood. That's about it. So when he became king, one day he came over. They have to cross the river. The river is the border between the two kingdoms, to kill them. And Buddha knew, so he went and sit on the Savatthi side under a tree that is not well shaded. Sit there, and when the King Vidadupa came, said, "Oh Buddha, why are you sitting there? Come and sit on my side of the bank, a well-shaded tree." And the Buddha said, "Well, the shades of relatives are even better than the shades of a good tree." And Vidadupa knows what Buddhist meant. So he took his army back without crossing. And this happened the first time, the second time, and the third time. And when the third time came, Buddha reflected, he's insistent. It is when we so all-knowing, they are not knowing every time, all the time, everything. But they have to incline the mind on a certain topic. And when they incline the mind, they can see what is happening, what was happening, what's in the past, that kind of a thing. So the Buddha reflect and see, why is it for the third time, and he keep coming back. But when he saw Buddha, he left. And the fourth time, he recalled that incident at a fisherman village. Fisherman village, all the fishermen kill whole schools of fish with poison. Oh, that was the reason, he noticed. As he noticed that, now I have to leave them to their own karma. The fourth time, Buddha didn't go and sit under that tree anymore. And let it be according to their own karma. The king slaughtered the entire Sakya clan. And that is the end of the bloodline of Sakya clan. In other words, Buddhists have no more relatives left. That was the incident of that fisherman and his fishermen's and his Kamma, who are relative. And the ninth incident is this one is very specific. Some of the things, like say, he went to hell, kill this, that, and some are even before he has let's say prophesied from the Buddha Dipagara that he will become a Buddha. Some cases long before that, some during after that, but in here is quite close. So in the sutta it said 92 world cycles ago, whatever that means in terms of time, a young man saw Buddha Posa, that Buddha's name is Posa, and the monks. These were, Posa and the monks were taking food. It's offered by the devotees, very delicious, nice, good food. And when he saw that, he looked at them and he told the people around him, "These monks does not deserve a great, delicious, good lunch. But they deserve food for the pigs, because they are lazy and they don't have a job. They don't work to have their own food, put food on the table." That was the jealousy and envy. That is, from his point of view, he's right, of course. They are lazy, they don't have a job, but now they are having a meal fit for the king because the devotee has a lot of sada. That was the action towards a Buddha. This is specific, Buddha Pusa and his disciple. And at the lifetime of Buddha, actually it is, I think it's the 12th rain retreat, I think. A Brahmana, so that's intellectuals, Hindus, of the Badinja city sponsored the Buddha and the monk to spend a 12th rain retreat near their city, and he said he will take care of all the food because there's a sponsor. In that year, there's a great drought hit that kingdom. The sponsor and the people did not have enough food to offer. They don't even have enough food to eat for themselves. So, but at the same time, they were already there for the rain retreat. One of the rules is they cannot just move around during the rain retreat. But luckily, a group of horse traders from the north came down and knew or heard about the Buddhists and the monks' plight. They have limited food for themselves. They don't have extra, but they have a lot of inferior grains for the horses, horse traders, so they have a lot of grains for the horses. They offer this horse food, horse grain to the Buddha and the monks for 3 months. Buddha has to eat for 3 months the horse grains. And it was the accusation or having jealousy towards Buddha, Posa and the monk. They deserve pig foods. That's the 9th incident of Buddha Gautama's unwholesome karma result. The 10th one is he was a wrestler in a village. The born Buddha was a wrestler in a village. And there was a traveling wrestler. This also shows how the cultures and traditions and how the people live as well. A traveling, unbeaten wrestler, go from town to town, village to village. He challenged wrestler. He challenged that the resident wrestler, who was the Buddha's to-be. And when they were wrestling, they don't really kill each other or hurt each other, they just dominate another person. But this time, the resident wrestler purposely broke the back of the challenger. He purposely broke it because the other guy was probably quite arrogant, I guess, because he's a champion traveling and wrestling around. As a consequence, the Buddha Gautama suffered back pain throughout his life. That's a 10th. 11 is he was a physician at that life. And that physician treated a wealthy man's sons to help. But the wealthy man squealed and did not pay the bill. No, the physician just say, "Oh, okay, you don't pay, of course you can't do much. But I'll leave some medicine here. He has to take it so that this problem will not come back." And what he did was, he dispensed medicine that induced diarrhea. So the son have diarrhea and was about to die. And at that moment, the father knew, and he apologized. Sorry, I shouldn't have. I will pay the fees. And he paid the fees. When he paid the fees, the physician prescribed an antidote. So that was the incident here. The physicians are the ones who take oath to save others, not to hurt or harm any others. It's oath-breaking actions. So at the time, at the lifetime of Buddha Gautama, what the consequences is, Buddha, it was his last year of his life. And Buddha always, every day, he looked across the land, so to speak, with his psychic eye and see who is ready to be liberated. In other words, Parami is full, but they need a teaching from the Buddha, and then they can be liberated. And for those people, he gave special emphasis. They are ready. So in here is, he looked through, and this is the last year, and he saw a hermit named Subhada. Okay, Subhada lived in the Kusinara. Kusinara is a town. And he knows that before his life end, okay, he has to liberate this Subhada, because only if Subhada hear from the Buddha's teaching that he could be liberated. But that was some time ago, the same year, but not immediate. And the Buddhas traveled for months from village to village, town to town, teaching Dharma, but always heading towards that Kusinara. And 3 months before the Buddha passing away, he had a diarrhea with a bloody stool. The Buddha had a diarrhea with a bloody stool, on and off, of course. But he kept on traveling. He had a stool, he got a little better, have again, and so on. But one day, before the full moon day of May, the same year, he reached a town called Pawa, P-A-W-A, Pawa. And there's a devotee, a goldsmith. So he invited the monks, the Buddha and the monks for lunch. And he prepared various dishes. But the main item, the main dish is the pig curry. Okay, pig curry, to offer the Buddha and the monk. And at that time, the Devas and the Brahmas, they knew that this is the Buddha's last meal. And after that, the Buddha will be passing away. So they want to offer their food to Buddha's last meal. So they added the divine food into the pig curry. And these Deva food, human cannot digest such food because they are so potent. The Buddha knew that the Deva and the Brahmas, they put their Deva's food into the pig curries. So Buddha called the goldsmith and told him to provide the pig curry only to him and bury the rest, not to anybody, bury the rest. And of course, the goldsmith did what been told. After the meal, the Buddha has a bout of bloody diarrhea again, but this time it's quite severe. He was almost dying from that. There are some Western interpretation is these pig curry is foul and rotten, so he got a diarrhea. But this is the case explained in the scripture. Because if it is foul, not only the Buddha, everybody, other monks who ate will also have it. But nobody has it except Buddha. The rest were buried. But the Buddha still traveled to Kusinara. It's only about 6 miles from Pawa to Kusinara. It's only 6 miles. But in the scripture it said Buddha has to rest 25 times along the way of that 6 mile. And then he taught the hermit Subhadda, who became an arahant just before the Buddha passed away on the full moon of day of May, the 45th year of his life. That is the 11th incident. It is due to, while he was a physician, he broke his oath and dispensed diarrhea-causing medicine because he wasn't paid. The 12th and the last one is Gatikara. Was at that time was a Gatikara. Gatikara is a friend of another Brahmana called Zotitala. They are really close friends, Gatikara and so Gatikara called the learned and conceited friend who is Zotitala. Zotitala is Buddha's to be. And it is at the time of Buddha Kassapa. Kassapa is the one Buddha just before Gautama. At the time of Buddha Kassapa, to go and see Buddha Kassapa. But at that time, Buddha was a very learned, conceited Brahmin. And they said, oh, this Buddha Kassapa has to practice only 6 days of austerity, and after that he became a Buddha. Okay. That is all that they know. They think that austerity practice make one to become a Buddha. Zodhisala said, it could not be. It is insufficient amount to become a Buddha. That is his opinion. No, in other words, that's not true. He's fake. 6 days is not good enough. But regardless, both of them went to the Buddha Kassapa. And after hearing the Buddha's sermon, Zotitala became a monk under Buddha Kassapa and practiced Vipassana. He reached up to the highest level, Anuloma Jnana, but stopped there. Because once you take a vow to become a Buddha, and practice for that, regardless whatever situation arises, you cannot pass the threshold to become a Ariya. Even the first Satipatthana you cannot become, because it is your mental state that is blocking. If a person say, I'm not going to become a Ariya, let's say in this life, and he practiced in full, he has parami, and even if he reached to the highest level, at that moment it stopped. just can't cross over that threshold because your own mind block not to become a Satipatthana. So that was the story. Satipatthana became the highest level of insight, but he was a monk throughout his life under the guidance of Buddha Kassapa. Because as a result of his wrong speech towards the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama needed 6 years of austerity practice before discovering the middle path and became enlightened. He has to practice 6 years. Even though it's a wrong path, but he keep on practicing that wrong path for 6 years. Buddha Kassapa only 6 days. The wrong path, but they turn around and find the Eightfold Noble Path quickly. Wrong speech, accusation towards a Buddha. That's the 12th, or the final unwholesome result or vipaka of Buddha Gautama. These were done many eons ago, eons and eons of world cycles ago, and up to the point of the last Buddha Kassapa. Even Buddha could not escape the consequences of unwholesome karma, unwholesome action. When the conditions come together, the Buddha had to experience 12 unfortunate events or results due to the past harmful actions. If we summarize this or analyze this, his actions are he insulted 2 Buddhas. He insulted 3 silent Buddhas, 1 Arahant, and 1 jhanic holder monk. Buddha, silent Buddha, Arahant, and jhanic holder. There are 7 of them. From that, we should be careful about. We don't know who is silent Buddha or Ariya or Arahant. We don't know anything. But we should always be mindful not to insult, not to accuse anybody, even it might be a fake, to insult and to transgress upon them. Let them live their life and let their karma be their own guide. But don't make it your fault. Don't make it your karma. Especially when you are dealing with, let's call it, monks or nuns or practitioners. And 2 are related to killings. And 1 is relishing the sights of killing. 1 is physically hurt, cruelty, that wrestler breaking the back. And 1 is a physician who broke his oath and dispensed poison. These are the unwholesome actions Buddha to be has done, and he has to actually face the consequences in his last life. And alcohol, we should be very careful. Once we got alcohol, we will get onto the wrong path. So, I think it gives us an insight onto how karma is Even the Buddha cannot escape it. And also, we are all practicing to be mindful and live a wholesome life. There's a lot of stories and incidents that we should heed upon and keep ourselves as wholesome as possible. May all of you be able to practice mindfulness insight meditation and live a wholesome life and attain the goal as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Pujami. Dhammam Pujami. Sangham Pujami. Okay. Sharing of merit.
Imaya Dhammanu Dhammam Patipatiya Buddham Pujami. Imaya Dhammanu Dhammam Patipatiya Dhammam Pujami. Imaya Dhammanu Dhammam Patipatiya Sangham Pujami. Ata Imaya Patipatiya Jara Maranamha Harimokhi Sami. Idame Silam Asavakaya Vaham Hontu. Idame Silam Magapana Denasa Pachayo Hontu. Imano Panapakam Sapasatanam Tema Sabde Sata Sukhita Hontu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay,
Dhammam Pujami. Sangham Pujami.
Okay, take a step down to 5%. Anatipada.
Anatipada Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Sura Virya Raja Pamatatana Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Ita Mesina Magapana Denasa Pachayo Hontu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Pujami. Dhammam Pujami. Sangham Pujami. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.